A warm trickle made him raise his hand to his forehead, and his palm came away hot and sticky. He realized with a start that he was bleeding. Had he hit his head on the steering wheel? The windshield? It didn't matter. The wound wasn't serious. He wasn't about to die from a head injury. What now? The question was insistent, ever present, the dependable drum of his heartbeat in his ears. What now? What now? What now? It was the question he had been asking himself for months, and answering it had brought him here. And he had no idea where he was. A gravel road, a beat-up car. He had intentionally left everything of value in the safe at the run-down motel where he had rented a room on the second floor. There was nothing in his pockets save a single scrap of paper, and that was hollow comfort at best. When he finally climbed back into the car and tried to put it in reverse, the transmission sputtered and clunked and refused to shift. He didn't know much about cars, but it didn't take a genius to guess that the axle was cracked. Spitting a curse, he thought of his cell phone tucked carefully away back in the room. There was nothing for him to do but turn off the car and walk for help. A farmhouse? A nearby town? He could hit the highway and hitchhike, but now that the vehicle was quiet and the gravel road dark, the October night pressed in heavy and assured him that nothing could be done without drawing attention. He was bloodied, reeking of vomit. Strange. He felt it coming off him like an odor, the sense that he was not who he was supposed to be, that everything about this night was wrong. But as he was about to strike off in the direction of the nearest farm, headlights swung down the gravel road. Because the terrain was so wooded and the night so still, he hadn't paid attention to the faraway traffic of the blacktop less than a mile away. It streaked past at a distance, a blur of light and motion that seemed more like shooting stars in a distant galaxy than vehicles filled with people, laughing, listening to the radio, dozing. They were as disconnected from him as the silver crescent moon that hung askance above the trees. Still, he straightened his tie, smiled. When the headlights touched his face, he was sheepish and apologetic, his mouth quirked charmingly and arms outstretched. "Hey," he said as the car slowed down, and the passenger side window made its steady descent. He couldn't see the driver, so he took a careful, measured step and bent to peer inside. "I was in a bit of an accident, and—" He couldn't stop himself from recoiling, from shuddering as if the person in the driver's seat was an apparition, so freakish and grotesque he had no choice but to flinch in shock. But that was ridiculous. Flesh and blood, nothing more. He took a breath, forced a smile. "What are you doing here?" The moment the words were out of his mouth, he knew the answer. In some ways, he had known all along. Written on a piece of paper, 555-440-3686. Annotation. Mariah K., 24, Caucasian, GED. Short blonde hair, blue eyes, average height and weight. Soft-spoken but articulate. Little to no family support. MAN/DEL-CS. 36M, 16W. Chapter 1. The kitchen was cold, the air flat and vacant, lonely. Jessica shivered as she clung to the doorframe with one hand and bent to slide on her shoes, kitten heels in a leopard print that struck a dissonant chord in the stillness of the hollow room. Coffee. That's what was missing. Jess puffed a frustrated breath through her nose. Of course she had forgotten to make